Since 1996, I've taught clients how to make anger an ally, which begins with understanding the causes of anger. In order to feel angry, we must have pain, and we must perceive that someone or something is intentionally and unjustly causing us pain. In other words, pain plus blame equals anger. The pain can be physical, emotional, spiritual, or simply feeling stressed out. The blame can be toward a person, God, an organization, or even fate. Therefore, to decrease anger, we must decrease the pain and blame. So every anger management skill involves decreasing pain and blame. So how can we learn to decrease blame? Well, it begins with the choice to make letting go of blame the highest priority, which might not be easy, but it is doable with practice and persistence. So why must we learn to let go of blame? Because blaming leaves us powerless by telling us we can't be happy until things we cannot control, such as other people, change. Therefore, we must focus on what we can change, which is ourselves. Decreasing blame, however, is only the beginning, because next we must learn to focus on the pain, which will allow us to make anger an ally. You see, many of us have used anger as a defense mechanism, like a shield, to deflect our pain by focusing on the blame. But as long as we avoid acknowledging our pain by blaming, we cannot heal or grow. So after letting go of the blame, we must calm ourselves down and then seek to identify our pain by asking ourselves, what is the pain I am feeling right now in this situation? Why am I hurting? Now, it may take some time and practice learning to identify the pain, if our pattern has been to avoid it, but we must try. We must look inward and search for the hurt, because once we can identify the pain, we can then use that knowledge to improve self-care by asking a second question. Now that I have identified the pain, what do I need to do to take care of myself in my long-term best interest? So let's look at an example. I find myself raging inside because my supervisor criticized my project proposal. I have fantasies of punching holes in his tires, even while another part of me recognizes I'm overreacting. But I can't stop the feelings. And then I remember what I learned in anger management. I need to let go of the blame and calm myself down, which I do. Next, I must try to identify the pain that is fueling the anger. So with some effort, I'm able to identify a deep feeling of hurt and shame. Then with further observation of my thoughts and emotions, I remember feeling the same way around my father, who constantly put me down. I then make the connection that my supervisor's criticism caused me to feel like a horrible failure, just like my dad did. I now realize that my anger isn't so much about my supervisor, but rather about my issues with my father and my feelings of inadequacy. So now that I have identified the pain that fueled my rage, I need to ask myself another question. What do I need to do in this situation to take care of myself in my long-term best interest? After some reflection, I decide that my supervisor's criticism is not the issue. In fact, he was just doing his job. The real issues are with my father and my feelings of inadequacy. So I decide to read self-help books, seek counseling, or join a support group to help me figure out how to improve my self-esteem and resolve the issues with my father. Thus, by following the thread from anger to the pain, I discovered significant wounds within me that needed healing, which is how we make anger an ally. If you found this video helpful, please click the thumbs up button. And if you want to hear more from me, then subscribe to my channel, Counselor Carl. I will be publishing a new video every other weekend. If you'd like help in learning to make your anger an ally, then visit my website, SerenityOnlineTherapy.com, to learn more about me and the services I provide. Until next time, and keep paying attention to your life.